The envelope sat on my kitchen counter like a coiled snake. Cream-colored, expensive paper. My sister Emma's flowing calligraphy across the front. Save the date. I'd been staring at it for 20 minutes, my coffee growing cold, my hands trembling with something I couldn't quite name yet. Not anger, not yet. First came the numbness. My phone buzzed. Mom's name lit up the screen. "Did you get Emma's save the date?" Her voice was bright, theatrical. The voice she used when she was hiding something. I did. "Isn't it exciting? June 23rd. Mark your calendar. And sweetie, we need to talk to you about something. Can you come by the house this weekend?" The house. The house I'd been paying the mortgage on for the last 5 years. The house that was supposed to be my inheritance, my security, the tangible proof that all those sacrifices meant something. "What's this about, Mom?" A pause. Too long. "We'll discuss it when you get here. Saturday, around 2? I agreed because I always agreed. Because I was Daniel, the reliable one. The one who swooped in when Dad's accounting firm went under. According to YouTube analytics, 99.6% of viewers are not subscribed. That's a huge number. By subscribing the channel that is completely free, you'll help support the channel and never miss fresh content. The one who quietly set up automatic payments of $2,800 every month, draining my savings, postponing my own life, so my parents wouldn't lose their home. That was 5 years ago. I was 28 then, finally ready to propose to Rachel, the woman I'd been dating since college. I'd been looking at rings, making plans, building a future. Then Dad called, his voice cracked and small. "Son, I don't know what to do. We're going to lose everything." So I did what I always did. I fixed it. I told Rachel we needed to wait just a bit longer. Took on extra freelance projects. Moved into a smaller apartment. Watched the ring fund I'd been building become the mortgage fund instead. Rachel left after 2 years. "You care more about your parents than us," she'd said, and I hadn't been able to deny it convincingly enough. Saturday came with the kind of spring sunshine that felt like mockery. I pulled up to the house, a beautiful craftsman with a wraparound porch, the house I'd grown up in, the house I'd bled for, and saw Emma's Mercedes in the driveway. Beside it, a BMW I didn't recognize. My stomach dropped. Inside, Mom had set out cookies and lemonade like this was a celebration. Emma sat on the couch, glowing in that way brides-to-be glow, holding hands with a man in a tailored suit. Chad or Brad, or something equally generic. "Daniel!" Emma jumped up, all enthusiasm and white teeth. "Meet my fiancé, Preston. Preston, this is my big brother." Preston's handshake was firm, his smile practiced. Everything about him screamed money. The kind of money that had always eluded our family until Dad's business collapsed under the weight of his partner's embezzlement. Dad cleared his throat. "Son, sit down. We have some wonderful news." I sat. The couch felt like quicksand. Mom beamed. "We've decided to give Emma and Preston the house as a wedding gift." The words hung in taccator, the air like shattered glass. I heard them, understood them, but they didn't make sense, couldn't make sense. "The house?" My voice sounded far away. "Isn't it perfect?" Emma gushed. "Preston's company is relocating him here, and we were looking at houses, but they're all so expensive. And then Mom and Dad offered, and it's like a fairy tale." "We'll move into a condo," Dad said quickly, not meeting my eyes. "Something smaller. We don't need all this space anymore." "The house I've been paying for." The words came out flat. "For 5 years." The room went quiet. Preston looked confused. Emma's smile faltered. "Well," Mom said carefully, "you were helping us out. We're very grateful." "Helping out?" I stood up. "I've paid $67,000 into this house. $67,000. While you were taking vacations to Florida, while Emma was getting her master's degree that you paid for, while I was living in a studio apartment eating ramen. Daniel, don't be dramatic, Emma said, her voice taking on that condescending edge. You make good money. It's not like you were starving. Something inside me cracked. I lost my fiancé because of this house. I postponed my entire life for this house. Because Dad told me, you told me. I turned to him, that if I helped you keep it, it would be mine someday, that it was an investment in my future. Dad's face reddened. I never promised. You absolutely did. My voice was steel now. February 14th, 2020. I have the text messages. Help us keep the house, and it'll all be worth it for you someday, son. This will be your house eventually. Mom stood up. You're not going to ruin your sister's happiness over this, are you? That's not who you are. And there it was. The trap I'd lived in my entire life. That's not who you are. Be the good son. Be the selfless brother. Sacrifice, 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 while Emma got everything handed to her. I looked at my sister, my baby sister, who'd never struggled a day in her life, who'd gotten a car at 16 while I rode the bus, who'd had her college fully paid for, while I worked 2 jobs and took out loans, who was now getting a house worth $480,000 that I'd paid for. Congratulations on your wedding, I said quietly. I won't be attending. I walked out while they were still calling after me. The lawyer's office smelled like leather and old books. Margaret Chen was a family law specialist I'd found through a referral, known for being thorough and ruthless in equal measure. Tell me everything, she said, setting up a recording device. I told her the verbal promises, the text messages I'd saved, 5 years of bank statements showing automatic payments, the countless times my parents had assured me this was an investment in our family's future. She listened, made notes, asked pointed questions. Do you have anything in writing? A promissory note? A contract? Text messages, emails. Let me see them. I pulled out my phone, showed her the thread. The messages from Dad, we'll make this right by you. This house will stay in the family. You're investing in your own future, son. Margaret's expression remained neutral, but I saw something flicker in her eyes. Here's the situation, she said finally. Legally, you were making gifts. Without a contract, it's hard to prove a loan or an agreement. My heart sank. However, she continued, there's something called promissory estoppel. Your parents made promises. You relied on those promises to your detriment. You can prove damages, the relationship you lost, opportunities foregone, financial strain. It's not a guaranteed win, but it's viable. What are my options? You can sue for the return of your payments plus damages, or, she leaned forward, you can file a lien against the property for the amount you've paid. That would prevent them from transferring the title to your sister until the debt is satisfied. A lien, a legal claim on the house I'd paid for. If I file the lien, what happens? The property can't be transferred with a clear title. They'd have to pay you back or negotiate a settlement before the wedding gift can be finalized. It would essentially freeze everything. I thought about Emma's smug smile, Preston's ignorant handshake, my parents' casual dismissal of 5 years of sacrifice. File the lien, I said, and prepare the lawsuit. Daniel, this will destroy your family relationships. Are you sure? I met her eyes. They destroyed the relationship when they decided I was worth less than my sister. The lien was filed on a Tuesday. By Wednesday evening, my phone had 37 missed calls. 23 from Mom, 10 from Dad, 4 from Emma, escalating from confused to furious. I didn't answer. I was done explaining myself. The voicemails painted a picture. Shock, denial, anger, guilt-tripping. Mom, how could you do this to your sister on her wedding day? Dad, this is extortion. I'm calling my lawyer. Emma, you're ruining my life because you're jealous. You've always been jealous. I saved them all. Evidence of their true feelings. The only call I returned was from Preston. Daniel, Preston here. Listen, I think there's been a misunderstanding. No misunderstanding. I paid for that house. I have proof. Your wedding gift comes with my debt attached. Your parents said you were just helping out, that there was no expectation of repayment. They lied. Check the title. Check the lien. Then ask yourself if you want to marry into a family that would do this to their own son. I hung up. It felt good. Better than it should have. The lawsuit was filed 3 days later. I was suing for $67,000 in direct payments plus $50,000 in damages for lost opportunities and emotional distress. Margaret argued that my parents had fraudulently induced me to provide financial support under false pretenses. The local newspaper picked up the story. Local man sues, parents over wedding gift home read the headline. The article was fair but devastating, laying out the facts in clean, simple language. My phone exploded again, this time with messages from relatives, family friends, people from church. Uncle Mike, family doesn't sue family. Aunt Linda, you're breaking your mother's heart. Pastor Jenkins, forgiveness is divine, Daniel. Let this go. Only my cousin Sarah reached out with support. Good. They've spoiled Emma rotten for years, while you got nothing but expectations. Make them pay. Emma tried a different tactic. She showed up at my apartment, tears streaming down her face. Please, Danny, please drop this. You're destroying everything. You mean I'm destroying your free house? It's not about the house. It's about family. Mom and Dad are devastated. They're getting calls from everyone. Dad's been having chest pains. Don't. I held up my hand. Don't you dare try to manipulate me with Dad's health. Where was your concern for my health when I was working 70-hour weeks to pay for that house? Where was your concern when Rachel left me because I chose your comfort over my own future? That was your choice. Based on their lies. My voice cracked. They promised me, Emma, over and over. And you knew. You knew I was sacrificing for that house. And you never once said, hey, this isn't fair to Daniel. You just took and took and took, like you always have. She stepped back like I'd slapped her. I didn't know they promised you the house. Would it have mattered? Her silence was answer enough. Get out, I said quietly, and don't come back unless it's with a check. The mediation was scheduled for 3 weeks before the wedding. We sat in a sterile conference room, me and Margaret on one side, my parents and their lawyer on the other. Emma wasn't there. Preston wasn't either. My father looked older, smaller. Mom's hands shook as she arranged papers in front of her. Their lawyer, a thin man named Carlson, opened with an aggressive stance. My clients reject the premise of this lawsuit entirely. Mr. Foster made voluntary gifts to his parents. There was no contract, no formal loan agreement. This is a transparent attempt to extort money from his family. Margaret didn't blink. Then explain these. She laid out printed text messages, emails, recorded phone conversations I'd saved over the years. These establish a clear pattern of promises made in exchange for financial support. Mr. Foster's parents repeatedly assured him he was investing in his future and that the house would be his someday. He relied on these promises to his substantial detriment. Carlson shifted. Loose promises between family members aren't legally binding. Promissory estoppel disagrees, as does the doctrine of unjust enrichment. My client paid $67,000 toward property that his parents are now attempting to gift to his sister while providing him nothing. The injustice is clear. My mother spoke suddenly. Daniel, please, can we talk? Just us? Without the lawyers? Margaret touched my arm. You don't have to. 5 minutes, I said. We stepped into a smaller room, just the three of us. Mom's eyes were red. Sweetie, we never meant to hurt you. But you did. We thought. Dad struggled for words. Emma was getting married. She needed help. You're successful, independent. You don't need the house like she does. I needed my parents to keep their word. That's what I needed. We would have helped you eventually, Mom said. When you got married, when you bought a house, we would have… No. The word came out hard. You would have found another excuse, another reason why Emma needed more. Because that's what you've always done. She's the baby. She's the princess. And I'm just the workhorse who's supposed to pull the plow and be grateful for the opportunity. Dad's face crumpled. That's not true. We love you both equally. Love isn't about feelings, Dad. It's about actions. And your actions have shown me exactly where I stand in this family. What do you want? Mom's voice broke. Tell us what you want, and we'll try. I want my money back, every penny, and I want you to understand that what you did was wrong. Not because a lawyer said so, but because you know it in your hearts. Dad was quiet for a long moment. We can't pay you back all at once. We don't have that kind of liquidity. The condo we were going to buy? Then keep the house, make Emma and Preston buy their own home like normal adults. Give me a structured repayment plan with interest. I'll drop the lien and the lawsuit. Emma's wedding is in 3 weeks. This will destroy her day. Then you have 3 weeks to fix what you broke. The call came 2 days later. Emma, her voice stripped of its usual brightness. I broke up with Preston. I said nothing. He said, when he found out about everything, he said he couldn't trust Mom and Dad, that if they could do this to you, they could do it to him someday. He said I was spoiled, that I'd never learned to stand on my own. Her voice cracked. The wedding's off. I should have felt vindicated, triumphant. Instead, I felt hollow. Emma, no, you don't get to apologize. You're right. You've always been right. I've been selfish and blind and… God, Daniel, I'm so sorry. The apology caught me off guard. What? I went through Mom's emails, found all the ones from you, the ones where you asked if you could slow down payments because you were struggling, the ones where you told them about Rachel leaving. I never knew. They never told me. They were protecting you. They were enabling me. There's a difference. And I let them. I let them treat you like you were less important because it benefited me. What kind of sister does that? I closed my eyes. The kind who was taught that the world revolves around her. I want to make it right. I talked to Mom and Dad. We're keeping the house. They're selling it. They'll pay you back everything, plus 20% for interest and damages, and I'm paying a third of it, out of my own savings. Emma, you don't have to. Yes, I do. It's not enough. I know it's not enough, but it's a start. The closing happened on a gray afternoon in May. The house sold for $495,000. After agent fees and closing costs, my parents netted about $467,000. They bought a modest condo for $200,000 cash. The rest was divided, $80,400 to me immediately, my 67th seller plus 20%. The remaining amount was put into a trust that would pay me $1,500 monthly for the next several years to cover the additional damages I'd claimed. Emma transferred $22,000 from her savings account to mine the same week. I know it's not a third, she said when she handed me the check in person, but it's what I have liquid right now. I'll pay the rest over time. I looked at my sister, really looked at her, and saw someone different, someone humbled, someone finally growing up. Keep the rest, I said. Use it to build a life that's actually yours. Daniel, I mean it. You want to make it right? Stop expecting handouts. Stop letting Mom and Dad treat you like you're made of glass. Stand on your own feet." She nodded, tears streaming. "I will. I promise." 6 months later, I sat in a new apartment, not luxurious, but mine, paid for with money I'd earned and money I'd been owed. The space was filled with light, with possibilities, with the absence of resentment. My phone buzzed. A text from Emma. "Got the job! Assistant curator at the museum. Starting salary is modest, but it's mine. I earned it. Thank you for making me grow up." I smiled, replied, "Proud of you." Another text came in. "Sarah, Sunday dinner at my place. Heard your parents want to come too. Your call." I thought about it, about forgiveness and family, about the difference between reconciliation and reconciliation on someone else's terms. I'll be there. "But we're splitting the check if we go out after." Her response was immediate. "Deal." About time everyone paid their own way. I set down the phone and looked out the window at the city stretching below. The skyline was turning gold in the evening light, full of promise and second chances. I'd lost 5 years to that house, lost Rachel, lost the naive belief that family always meant unconditional support. But I'd gained something too: self-respect, boundaries. The knowledge that I could stand up for myself even when everyone told me I was wrong. That I could demand fairness even from the people who were supposed to love me most. The revenge I'd sought hadn't been about destruction. It had been about justice, about refusing to be invisible anymore, about teaching the people who'd taken me for granted that love without respect is just exploitation wrapped in prettier words. My parents sent careful, awkward texts now, working to rebuild trust, understanding finally that I was their son, not their safety net. Emma was dating again, a teacher she'd met at a coffee shop, someone who didn't have money, who loved her for her terrible jokes and her newly discovered work ethic. And me, I was whole again, still scarred, still healing, but whole. I'd paid for a house and lost it, but I'd won something more valuable: myself. The notification on my banking app showed the monthly trust payment arriving, $1,500, like clockwork. I marked it as received and allocated it to savings, real savings this time, for my future, my dreams, my life. Outside, the city hummed with possibility. Somewhere out there was a woman I'd meet when I was ready, a home I'd buy with my own money, a future built on my terms, not my parents' guilt or my sister's needs. I'd been the family's sacrifice for too long, the reliable one, the invisible one, the one who always gave and never asked what he'd get in return. Not anymore. I was done being the workhorse, done pulling other people's plows, done setting myself on fire to keep others warm. The greatest revenge wasn't watching them suffer. It was watching them learn, watching Emma become independent, watching my parents face what they'd done, watching everyone grow into better versions of themselves because I'd refused to enable the worse versions, and watching myself become the person I should have been all along, someone who knew his worth and refused to settle for less. I raised my coffee mug to my reflection in the window. "To new beginnings," I said to the man looking back, older, wiser, finally free. The city lights twinkled in response, and somewhere in the distance, life was calling my name.